You are not following through because you are not disciplined. You lack consistency because your identity is not set up in order for you to be consistent. In this training, I'm going to talk to you about why discipline is a myth, why the people you idolize in business, in fitness, in life are not further ahead because they're more disciplined than you. They are further ahead because they have an identity that is set up to enable them to succeed. Because for far too long, you have been fed the lie that you're not disciplined enough, you don't have enough willpower, you don't feel motivated, and it has nothing to do with any of those things. So buckle in and let's get started. Without being blunt and obvious, consistency is how often and how frequently you are able to follow through on something. Whether it be business, whether it be fitness, so whether it be posting on social media, whether it be going to the gym. And your consistency has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with who you believe you are. I'm going to look at consistency from two angles today. One being your identity, the second being your beliefs. From a subconscious standpoint, these are the two deepest, most layers that impact your whole life. Because consistency is not a behavior problem. It is an identity problem. Right now, you're probably sat here thinking, I know what I need to do. I know I need to post on Instagram. I know I need to set stronger work boundaries. I know I need to go to the gym. But I'm not doing any of it because I'm not a consistent person. And that there is your problem. I'm not a consistent person is an identity problem. By saying I'm not a consistent person, the problem sits at the root. You don't believe you as a person are consistent, and your identity is your blueprint for life, for everything, for your reality. Your identity informs your actions, which informs your results. If you do not think you are a consistent person, ergo, I am an inconsistent person, your actions will reflect your identity and your results will reflect your actions. If you have a identity ceiling, an unconscious limit of 2 weeks of consistency, whether that be posting on social media, whether that be being responsible and sensible with your spending, whether it be showing up to the gym. I use the gym a lot because it's a really easy one for everyone to get behind, right? If you have an upper limit, an identity ceiling for consistency as a whole across the board, because identity is universal, it's not just a one-time thing over here, like it impacts your whole life as a whole. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you have a limit for 2 weeks and you've posted for 2 weeks and you start to feel that little resistance rising in your chest, you start to feel your shoulders kind of creeping up into your neck and you're like, oh, I know I need to post, I know I should post, but I'll do it tomorrow. And you've said that for like 50 times this week. I'll do it tomorrow. You know you need to go to the gym and every morning you wake up and you snooze your alarm. I'll go tomorrow. I will write that post tomorrow. I will plan that content tomorrow. This is you hitting your identity ceiling, your subconscious limit, okay? Your subconscious, now if you followed my trainings for a while, you'll know that the subconscious is set up for familiarity and for safety. And whatever is safe to the subconscious is what it deems familiar. Your subconscious is not set up for sex. Your subconscious is not set up for success, my darling. Oh no, it is set up to keep you exactly where you are currently. And if that is in this never-ending loop of inconsistency, that is where you will stay. I speak from experience. I speak from experience. Last year, I went through a cycle of hitting my 2 week limit in content, falling off the face of the earth for 2 to 3 weeks, and then coming back with a bang, but also feeling so almost like I was being anchored. You know, that little bit of resistance in my chest. I knew I wasn't moving very far forward because every time I started to gather momentum, I'd pull back. I couldn't handle it because I had an unconscious limit for visibility and for consistency. And so I'd post for 2 weeks, I'd build momentum, and then I would pull back because my subconscious had been trained to understand that I was an inconsistent person. I, as a person, was inconsistent, and therefore my identity is rooted in inconsistency, and therefore my actions reflect my identity. My actions reflected inconsistency because that's who I believed I was. And so when your identity is not set up for success, like the people you're probably seeing online right now, and you're looking at them and comparing yourself to them and you're going, why is this person so much further ahead than me? I have all the knowledge, I have all the skills, I know exactly what I need to be doing, I have all the strategy. Why is it not working? Why can I not follow through? Why can't I be consistent? It is not a strategy problem. It is a consistency. It is an identity problem. So that's identity, right? That is one angle that will impact and impede your consistency. The other angle is beliefs. So if your identity is rooted in consistency, you are a consistent person, you show up consistently, you can do whatever you need to do consistently, then the issue is sitting one level lower at your belief level. And your beliefs, again, your subconscious mind builds a reality based on your beliefs. And so if you believe, I am not good enough, if you believe visibility is unsafe, your reality will mold itself to reflect that because that is how you're showing up in the world. If your belief is rooted in, I am not good enough to have a successful business, to facilitate these transformations with these clients, to have a following and have impact, then you are going to be sabotaging your efforts. And this is where self-protection comes in. And I like to call it self-protection because it gleans a tiny bit of compassion for the subconscious mind because it is only doing its job, right? And when we say self-sabotage, there is such a negative connotation. Yes, we don't want to be in these loops of self-sabotage, but actually what is happening is that your subconscious mind is doing its job and it is protecting you from a perceived threat. The threat being change, the threat being a new level of visibility, a new level of responsibility, right? And so when you are operating from a belief system that doesn't support where you're going, i.e. visibility is unsafe, and you're trying to grow an Instagram following, you're trying to grow a business, you're trying to grow an online business, and yet you have this belief that visibility is unsafe, those are incongruent, and every time you build momentum and you build that every time you build momentum and you build the following and the engagement online and you start to see things happening, that's usually when your subconscious pulls back, isn't it? Right? Because it pulls back because it's afraid. It's pulled back because there is a fear of success here. And there's a fear of success because if you're successful and if you carry on, you will become really fucking visible. And when you become really fucking visible, that belief of being visible is unsafe, it's going to go, warning, visibility is unsafe, pull back. And that is exactly why you get that push-pull of action, inaction, of like momentum, standstill. Because consciously, you know what you need to do. You know you need to post. You know you need to say the bold things. You know you need to be consistent with it, right? But unconsciously, you are living your life by a set of rules that are not set up to give you the life that you are actually wanting. And so when you are living your life by your unconscious set of rules, and that unconscious set of rules says visibility is a danger to our identity and who we are, that is when you pull back, because you cannot have actions and an external reality that is incongruent with your identity. This actually happened to me. So I, as I said at the start, had this push-pull of visibility. I would post for 2 weeks, really fucking good content. I would get engagement. I would start to see my reach climb, and I would pull back. I would protect myself by saying, I don't have any ideas of content. I don't know what to post. I don't know if this is like building my brand or like if it's incongruent with my brand. And so I would have this push-pull of I'm showing up, I'm doing the thing, and then, whoa, we cannot do the thing. And this happened for a full 6 months, like I shit you not. 6 months of push-pull, push-pull, and every time going back and starting again with no momentum was heartbreaking because it was so fucking hard. Objects in motion move faster and further than objects that are operating from a stop, start, standstill motion thing. And so I knew that my actual issue sat at my belief level. I didn't believe that I was an inconsistent person because I can consistently and have done for 10 years show up to the gym. And yet when my content dipped and I was inconsistent with my content, it leaked into my fitness. And that's when I knew that this went deeper than just I don't know what to post, because it started to leak into every area of my life. And so I had the belief that visibility meant too much responsibility. Too much responsibility. Not more responsibility, because yes, visibility does mean more responsibility, but too much. Too much for me to handle. And so when I was operating from this belief of visibility is too much, every time I started to get visible, I would pull back to protect myself. And so when I rewired that belief to visibility means more impact, because impact is one of my biggest values, it is why I do what I do. When I rewired that belief, everything changed. Everything changed. And it wasn't even in a fun fanfare kind of, oh my God, I'm such a different person now. It literally happened gradually but overnight. I've had the longest streak of consistency on Instagram ever in 3 years of building a business. And this morning I woke up to a viral video and I actually got excited. I got excited. The old me would have freaked the fuck out. The old me would have had that tension in her chest, that shortness of breath. She would have been like, fuck, like we cannot handle this. Like what happens now? What do we do? We've been seen by all these people. I have never in my life been seen by nearly 20,000 people. When I had a video, I woke up to a video that had 17,000 views. Like, I was excited about that. And for some of you watching, that might be really fucking scary. For some of you watching, it might be really fucking normal. But when I rewired that belief, it meant that the next level was safe for me. And so by automatically rewiring that belief, my actions then automatically fell into place. And I'm now in a place where posting on Instagram is more normal to me than not posting. I get resistance when I go to bed and I'm like, shit, I haven't posted on Instagram. That's not normal for me. It is now, but it wasn't. And so this is why I am so fucking passionate about the work I do. And that's why I know that the subconscious rewiring and the identity work is where your change sits. Because you can change strategies, you can change behavior, and you can push it and you can force it and you can fight it. And you can still stay in that frustrating loop of, I know how to be consistent. I know how to do these actions. I know how to plan my day. I know how to organize my time. I know how to set work blocks. I know how to do routines. And yet you are still being inconsistent because the belief underneath the action and the routine and the habit doesn't align with where you're going. And it might be something different to fear of success. It might be the fact that you'll have to hold more, and by holding more, there's a fear of burnout. There's a fear of hitting your identity ceiling and experiencing the symptoms of burnout, the exhaustion, the brain fog, the lack of energy, and that element of hitting your capacity. There are so many things that could be blocking your path right now, but none of them are your strategy. And that is why I am so obsessed, as I said, with this work, because this is the exact work I take my private clients through. And the shifts are fucking palpable. They are so insanely fast because when you shift from the identity level, everything else filters in and changes. When you shift at the top, everything else shifts underneath, almost like, I want you to imagine a tower of champagne glasses. And as you start to pour that champagne in at the top and it starts to overflow down, that's exactly what identity work is. Identity work is that bottle of champagne and you pour it in and everything else starts to flow. Everything else starts to flow. And that is why the transformations in my world are so fucking huge, because we rewire who you are, not what you do. And when you shift the identity underneath the behaviors, everything else becomes inevitable. And when you've experienced that version of yourself, you don't go back. You can't go back. And so what I want you to do, I want you to take away from this video is this. I want you to start to notice the patterns in your life already. And I know that some have already come into your awareness now. And that is exactly what your subconscious mind wants you to focus on. The pattern that just came into your mind when I said notice the patterns, that is the one you need to focus on next. Whether it is posting on social media, whether it is having a money date and actually opening a bank account every single day, whether it is making time for loved ones and shutting your laptop at a certain time every day and sticking to your fucking boundaries. I see you. Whatever it is, just know that the consistency of it is not coming from behavior. It's not sitting at a behavior level. You do not need more discipline. You need to become the person that just does it. And you need to become the person who just does it by understanding currently why you are not doing it. When you understand the trigger of that behavior, and 9 times out of 10, every single pattern of behavior you put yourself through, the procrastination, the overthinking, the self-doubt, the self-protection mechanisms here, they are all learnt behaviors, and they are all learnt to do one thing: avoid the outcome, avoid the discomfort, avoid the emotions, right? And so the one thing I want you to take away from this, and I want you to open up a notes page on your phone, on your app, and I want you to put at the top consistency, patterns, and I want you to spend a week. I want you to spend 1 week between watching this video, and I want you to build that awareness around your current patterns, around your current limits for consistency, and I want you to understand more about what is triggering those behaviors. When you know what is triggering your inconsistency, you can rewire it to trigger consistency. That is the work I do in my world. We rewire the beliefs and the identities in order to create the life that you so deeply crave and deserve. Because you can have the life of your dreams. You can be the woman of your dreams. But it takes rewiring at a deeper level than habits, behaviors, and actions. If you have liked this video, I would love for you to like and subscribe. Drop a comment below on what resonated most and where you see yourself currently. And I will catch you on the next video.